Hello guys, this is Professor DK and welcome to another episode of the login app using the database series. So in the last video we implemented the login activity wherein the username and the password was compared with the database on Firebase. So on successful login the user was let into the app. Now the problem with that was when on consecutive launches, as you can see in the code that we have written, the user isn't prompted to log in again and again so that we can improve user experience. But the problem was in the second activity, so there was no way of logging out of the app. So that way, if we had a new user, so we didn't have any method here to go back to the previous activity and register that user. So today we'll be discussing that and I'll explain how we can implement the logout function. I hope I've set the context for today's video. So in today's video we'll be basically implementing the logout function so that we can go back from this activity to the main login activity wherein new users can also register. Alright, so let's begin first by designing the layout here. So go ahead and click on activity second.xml. So go to the second activity and as you know we have implemented a text view here already which says this is a second activity. I mean this is your home page of your app. You can have anything that you want. So for demonstration purposes I'm just gonna leave it as it is. I just want to implement the logout function here. Alright, so I'm just gonna quickly drag and drop the button. So as we have been doing this always, so we need to constrain this on all the sides. Alright, so we'll constrain it to the bottom of the text view and all the other three sides to the parent layout. Alright, so on the left and the right as well, and then you can move it around. Alright, so you must be asking me why are we constraining this? Will it work if I simply drag and keep it here? I mean the button might appear to be at the center here, but when you really actually implement it on the app, so it might be present somewhere else. So that way if we want it to be exactly where we want it, then we need to constrain it to any other widget or the parent layout. That way it is dynamic and it changes with the parent layout of your phone. So I mean the phone can be 5.5 inches or 6 inches. So in that case the button is still gonna be at the center. So that is why the constraint layout is very useful. Alright, so we have our text view and we have our button here. Let's quickly rename our button and we'll call this as so go to text and we'll call this as logout. Okay, so we have done that and we'll quickly give the ID as btn logout so that we can refer it easily later. Okay, I've changed the ID, I've changed the text. Now there are many ways of implementing this logout. I mean the code remains the same, but in the layout itself normally you would not have this logout function simply in the main app, right? So you would basically implement a navigation pane and then you could in the navigation drawer you could put a logout. So if you do not know how to implement a navigation drawer, then I've done a video on material navigation drawer, so you can go ahead and check it out and then you can just put the logout function in one of the switch cases, so that would also work. So for simplicity I'm just going to tell you how you can implement this easily, and so this is one way of doing that. One more is the navigation pane, and the third method is to implement a menu function here, right? So you could have a menu here which on clicking that you would have a pop-up which shows logout, and when you click on that you could go back to the main activity as well. Okay, so first I'll implement this and then I'll be showing you how you can implement it on the menu. But I won't be showing you the navigation drawer because that is out of the scope of this video. It's gonna take a while. So you can check out that video which I've already done, and you can ask me in the comment section how you can actually implement this there. So the code remains the same, you just need to add it there. Alright, so if you do not know how to, I'm just gonna upload the code for the navigation drawer as well in the comment section, so make sure you check it out. Alright, so now that we have finished designing the layout, we can go ahead and code it. So go ahead to your Java and under packages click on second activity.java. Alright, so firstly we need to get an instance of the Firebase auth. So for that I'm gonna type in firstly make it private, and then I'm gonna type in Firebase auth. Alright, and you can give it any user object name. Okay, and then as we have been doing previously, we need to get an instance of Firebase auth. So Firebase auth is equal to capital F Firebase auth dot get instance. So last time I think one of the subscribers had done this error wherein he had put the small f, and that will not work obviously. So you need to get an instance of the main class. Alright, so make sure you type in exactly as I'm typing, because everything actually has some meaning in it. So as we have created a button in activity second XML layout, so we need to reference that here. So I'm just gonna call my variable as private button. I'm gonna call it, and I'm gonna call it logout. Okay, and if you can recall, we have given the ID of our button as r.id.btn logout. Okay, so we have created our button. So what should happen when the button is clicked? So it should log out, right? So you need to put an on click listener. So logout dot set on click. So just observe what I'm typing here. So I'm typing set on CL, and Android Studio is auto completing it for me. I'm clicking enter. Next I'm typing new on, and then Android Studio gives this autocomplete option of view.onClickListener. So I'm gonna explain this for many more videos, because still people keep doing mistakes. So if you are fed up of this, I mean, I'm sorry, but I just want to make sure that everyone does not do this mistake. All right. So inside this on-click listener, so we'll be signing out the user. So Firebase auth dot sign out, and once this sign out is done, so once you sign out of this activity, you need to finish this activity and direct the user from this activity into login activity, right? So you will create start activity, and inside this I'm gonna provide the intent, so new intent, and I'm gonna provide the source and the destination, which is the source is nothing but second activity dot this, and the destination activity is nothing but main activity dot class. Okay, so if you observed here, package context got added here by itself, so that's a feature by Android Studio 3.0. Oh yeah, and one more thing I would like to mention is for all those who have been watching all my other videos, so all my other videos were done on Android Studio 2.3.3, and all the videos that I'll be doing now on is in the latest Android Studio version, Android Studio 3.0. So if you are on the previous version, make sure you upgrade to the latest version. I have already done a video on how to upgrade, so make sure you check it out. I'll leave the link in the description below. And this is the new feature that you observe in Android Studio 3.0. Rest everything actually remains the same. I mean, if you do not want to upgrade, so the code in itself will remain the same, but these helper clues will not be generated for you. So as you can see here, package context. So this was not written by me. This was auto generated by Android Studio. Okay. So we have successfully created the logout function, and I mean, this is one way, as I told you. Next, we'll create a menu option so that we can have a nice menu at the top here, because I mean, this is not something which you would normally see in a practical application. So this is just for demonstration purposes, but actually in an app you would have either a navigation tower and or a menu, right? So I'll be creating the menu here. So for that, go to resources and click on new, and then click on Android resource file. And at the top, just type in menu. So the file name is menu, and resource type is menu, the capitalized M, and yeah, everything else is fine, and just click on OK. So we have our menu. So click on that, and the menu.xml should open up. So do not do anything in the design, just go to text and create an item. Type in item, close this, and the closing tag will be generated by Android Studio itself. And we need to specify the type of item inside this here, right? And for the second parameter, you can define maybe an icon for the menu. So it will provide a small logo beside your logout. So you can implement that. I mean, it's simple. So you just need to provide the drawable, and you need to tell the name of the pic, right? So it can be something like logout.png. Okay, if you have anything in your drawable, so that's what you can do. I mean, I'm not going to do that because I do not have anything in my drawable. Alright, so this next thing that we need to do is order in category. So I'm just going to put it as 100. I'll explain what this means. I'm just going to type in quickly. So I have show as action as always, and the last thing that I want to add is a title, and we'll call this as logout. I'm going to quickly explain what I've done here. So first I've created an ID. So it says logout menu, and then the 2 lines next. Okay, so this is very critical. So order in category 100. So that you understand better, I'm just going to create 2 other items. Maybe call it the settings menu, and I'm going to give it an order of 200 and change the title as well. Call it settings, and create another item, and I'm gonna call this as refresh menu. So this is another useful design which you can actually implement in your app. So menu is a very good design. You can have multiple things here. So I'm just gonna put in 3 items. Okay, so I've done some mistake here, spelling mistake. So okay, refresh menu. All right, so the 2 lines, okay, order in category, I've given this as 100, 200 and 300. So that means the menu will actually prioritize logout to be first, settings next, and refresh to be the third in the menu. Okay, and the third line, show as action always. So what this does is, so if you want the logout to not be in the overflow pop-up, and if you want it on the action bar itself, so then you need to put it as always. So to understand the difference between this and another thing that is available, so that is never, and I'm gonna put even this as never. So that way you'll understand what it does. So here what's gonna happen is the logout is gonna be seen on the toolbar always, and it will not be inside the overflow menu. Okay, and these 2 will be in the overflow menu. Do not worry if you're not understanding what I'm saying, because when everything will come together in the end, you'll understand everything. So just bear with me, and let's continue with writing the code. So we have created our menu here, and you must be asking me how you can reference that menu item here, right? So for that we have an implementation method present in Android Studio. So go ahead and quickly click Alt+0, and this dialog box pops up. So you can click on override methods. So just type in on create options menu. Okay, so there's nothing like a search toolbar on top where you need to type. You just need to type it on your keyboard, and Android Studio will search what you want in this list, and it's gonna highlight it. So I got what I wanted here. So it reads on create options menu, and parameter is menu. Okay, so select that and click on OK, and this is generated here. And next what you need to do is you need to inflate the menu, right? So we'll have a function called get menu inflator, and we can just inflate our menu. So you need to, so inside this inflate you need to provide the ID of your menu.xml. so r.menu.menu, because menu.xml is the name of our file. And you need to, the second parameter, as you can see, when you keep it when you hover the mouse over this, it says that the second parameter is the menu itself. So the menu that we have here is menu, so we're gonna give that, and the error is gone. All right, so we have completed this, and we do not need this entire line. We can just say return true, and it'll still work. Okay, so we have inflated our menu inside this, and on create options menu is going to take care of creating the menu on the toolbar. Okay, Okay, so once the menu has been created, you must handle the click events on the menu. So for that, you have another implementation method. So just click on Alt 0 and click on override methods and type in on options item selected. Okay, so Android Studio will highlight it and then click on that and click on OK. So this is the override method that you need to handle the on click events of the items in the menu. And here so what you need to do is we need to implement a simple switch case. So item dot get item ID, and here you can the case is nothing but you need to provide the ID of the logout menu, right? So when this is the case, whenever the logout menu item is clicked, so what should happen? Okay, so what should happen here is again the same thing should repeat. It should sign out from Firebase Authenticator. Now I do not want to simply put in these 3 lines again here. I mean, you can do that as well, but instead of that we can simply create another function called private void, and we'll call this as logout. Okay, and just capitalize this. Okay, so private void logout is the function, and I'm gonna take in all the 3 lines of code here, cut it and then paste it here. So now to call this function we just need to type in the name of the function, so logout. Okay, and again here in our menu we can do the same, so that way we need not repeat code. So that makes our code simple and much more readable. Okay, so we have created a menu and we have put an on click event here which goes to the logout. Okay, so I mean you can stop the video here itself when we had finished putting the on click listener on the logout. So I just wanted to show you the different possibilities that you have to implement the logout. And as I mentioned earlier, so the another method is the material driver. Okay, so you can go ahead and check that out as well. So now that we have completed everything, it's time to check if everything works fine. So go ahead and click on run and check if there's any error. Okay guys, when I first ran the app, so it directly opened the second activity because I had already logged in the previous time. So I told you in the consecutive launches it's going to do that, right? So but now we have the logout button, and we also have the logout in the menu section. So if you recall what I had mentioned in the menu.xml, so I had told you that if you put show as action as always, then logout is going to be shown on the toolbar and not in the overflow menu as in the case of settings and refresh. Okay, so if you want logout to be inside this, so you can do that as well, and it's still not going to affect the code because it is going to take the ID of the menu, and ID is still going to be same outside or inside the overflow. Okay, still going to work. And I'm just going to click on the logout button first. So when I click on this, so as you can see here, it takes me to the main activity. So I'm going to log in so that I can show the working of the other logout. And Dheeraj22 @gmail.com. If you have any queries, you can send in your doubts there. And the password I had entered was 123456, right? So I'm just going to click on that, click on login. So here I'm going to test the logout function of the toolbar. So as you can see here, even the logout in the menu is still going to work. I'm going to log in again so that I can show you one more aspect of it. So quickly log in. And okay, so if I click on any of the menu options, so if I click on settings, it's not going to do anything. So how do you again put a functionality for these two, right? So again, in the switch case that we had done, you can simply put in the ID. So as you had mentioned the ID for settings as settings menu, you can provide that, and then you can do anything that you want, like you can direct the user to the settings in your phone, something like that. So that's what you can do. Okay, so we have completed the logout activity. So if you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Also, do not forget to check out the navigation drawer so that you can implement it in your app and then put the login function in your navigation drawer as well. So that's another thing that you could do. So if you have any comments, so make sure you comment in the comment section below. So I'll try to help you out as soon as possible. Also, do not forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Catch you guys in the next video. So thank you guys for watching. Happy learning.